Joining me now to give us some context and perspective on the voting in Venezuela is Mark Schneider, Special Advisor on Latin America at the International Crisis Group here in Washington, D.C. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, we're hearing some reports that Chavez is saying if he loses the election, he will refuse to step down. I want to get your thoughts on that because there are other reports where he is saying that he will honor whatever the outcome is.
I think there are two things. One is that he has said lately that he would definitely honor the results. People around him, however, unfortunately have been saying that they will not accept the result other than Chavez winning. And that, of course, raises the question, the potential for violence. We're hopeful that both sides will accept the outcome of the elections and will abide by the Constitution to respect those elections.
Well, you mentioned violence, and there are also reports coming out of Venezuela that citizens have been stockpiling their houses with food, going to the grocery stores in the event that there are riots or anything else taking place. What is the likelihood of something like that happening?
The International Crisis Group put out a report in the end of June that raised questions about non-government, non-official military organizations, some called colectivos and the other militias, that have been armed and been trained over the course of the past 5 years. And we're hopeful, though, that the armed forces of Venezuela will not allow them to get out of hand and will ensure that they respect the outcome of the elections.
Well, do you expect that we will actually get a declared winner soon, or is this something where we could see this drag out? There were long lines voting today, and it could be that they would take a long time to count those votes.
No question about it. The reports that we had were somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 or even higher percentage of the registered voters coming out to vote today. As you say, with long lines and with some voting booths kept open later in order to permit people to vote. Thus far during the day, all the reports that we've heard, though, is that the elections themselves have been carried out relatively peacefully, and the people have been allowed to vote. And hopefully that also will be the outcome when the results are announced. But as you say, it could be very early in the morning tomorrow before we hear those results.
Well, what does this say about Enrique Capriles, about his ability to bring the opposition party out and really unite behind him?
There's no question that he's been a much more successful unity candidate than anyone before. Although one can remember that in 2010, the opposition for the parliament received between 47 and 48%, and the government received just a bit over 48%. So they were basically tied. So it's clear that the opposition has a significant base that it can build on. And in the case of Capriles, he managed to put together a coalition that seems to have held together very well.
I want to quickly get your take on two scenarios. If Enrique Capriles loses this race, what will happen to him? Does he go back to the private sector or does he stay in politics? I mean, what does this mean for his career? He's a young man.
He's a very young man, and one would assume that given what will be success in the Venezuelan context, even if you were to lose this election, that he will still be a leader of the opposition and will be a voice for that view in politics as it goes forward.
And very quickly, my last question is about Hugo Chavez. If he wins, what happens to him? Because there have been so many rumors about his health. Is there someone waiting in the wings to step in if he cannot fulfill his term?
That actually is one of the great uncertainties, and one of the reasons why he perhaps is not getting as much support from his followers as he might otherwise, because they know that he's sick, they know that he's gone through cancer, they don't know how long he's going to remain as president if he wins, and there is no one behind him, on the side of him, that they can look to and say, this is someone that we believe we can rely on.
Okay, Mark Schneider, thank you so much for your time and your perspective. I know we'll all keep a close eye on this race.
Thank you.